Welcome. Welcome to the May Citizens Climate Lobby Call. My name is Mark Reynolds. I'm a member of the Citizens Climate Lobby staff, and I'm happy to be hosting today's call. Welcome to all of you from whether you're calling, whether it's throughout North America or other places around the world. What's going to be happening today is in just a few minutes, I'll be introducing our guest speaker who we're excited to have, Andrés Jimenez from Green 2.0, and he will probably have time for questions, which will be great. Before that, I want to introduce the new staff members that have come on in the last 6 months. We're in a huge push to try and make sure that a carbon price is part of the climate package that comes out of this Congress and that the Biden administration signs. Last month we had a business leaders conference with 168 people attending. Next Saturday, we have our first Catholic conference with 646 people coming. 147 members of Congress are Catholic, 20% of our country. So we're hoping that can be a big push. And then for next month, our June conference has over 1,200 people registered. So we're in a big push. We're doing a lot of things. And one of the things that we've been able to do is add some strategic hires. So before I introduce our guest, I want to introduce our new staff members to you.
Hi, I'm Angel Dixon. I'm a front-end developer on the IT team, and I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. Since joining CCL back in December, I've been developing websites that appeal to CCL's mission and encourage involvement online.
Hello, everyone. My name is Drew Irely. I am the Conservative Outreach Director for CCL, and I absolutely love my job. Located in Evans, Georgia, and my main focus is on conservative recruitment at all levels and helping our members engage their elected officials from a right of center perspective.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Williams. I'm the new state and local media coordinator for CCL. The absolute fabulous thing about what I do is I get to be the conduit between the media comms team and all of the volunteer media coordinators all over the country at the more than 400 chapters and the 11 regions that we work in.
Hi, my name is Alexis Hermosillo. I am the state level carbon pricing coordinator for CCL, and my job is to focus on state level efforts, and I'm based in El Mirage, Arizona.
Hi, I'm Garrett Pinnell from Dallas, Texas. I'm an IT specialist with Citizens Climate Lobby, started as a volunteer. My team and I help volunteers and staff overcome technical obstacles to effective climate advocacy, and I am just super excited about turning technical problems into climate solutions.
Hi, I'm Perry Jones. I'm a donor relations officer, and I'm based in Alexandria, Virginia, and every day I get to talk to the people who make this work possible and invite other people to support CCE and CCL.
I'm Kelsey. I'm the Conservative Outreach Coordinator. I am based in DC, and my general focus is on recruiting and activating conservative voices in CCL.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kyle Kameen. I am CCL's Senior Business Relations Representative, and I have been with the organization for 6 wonderful months. My job, I'm based in Washington, D.C., and one of my primary tasks is I get to share the incredible work that our volunteers do across the country with businesses and business associations to demonstrate why it would be a wonderful opportunity for them to engage with the great work you all do.
My name is Jamari Hartley, and I'm CCL's Government Affairs Coordinator, and I advocate for CCL's policy goals within congressional offices as well as tracking legislation.
My name is Patricia Rubio. That is the way it's pronounced. And I am calling from the Rio Grande Valley, which is on the right on the Tex-Mex border. And I am the Diversity and Inclusion Program Coordinator. So I work with volunteers in all things inclusion. And whenever they need some inspiration or something that goes on in the chapter to find a fresh new perspective on a way to bring more diversity to the chapter, to bring to CCL, that's me. And so I'm very happy to be there and help those folks out. Thank you.
Jacob Rodriguez here. I've been with CCL since November. I'm the digital marketing manager. So, excuse me, I do anything paid advertising. So anything on Google and Facebook. And I also help optimize our website so that we can appear higher in search results. So whenever anybody's looking for a place to volunteer, you should see us up there.
I'm Nick Huey. I'm living in Taylorsville, Utah. I'm a creative consultant with Citizens Climate Lobby. I help to come up with fun ads, stunts, and social media content that helps to get us more followers and helps us to laugh a little bit.
I'm Zakia Ford, and I'm the HR director, or human resources director rather. And I am tasked with supporting this amazing staff and developing the overall HR strategy. And I'm located in Atlanta, Georgia.
Great. So I want to introduce you some of our new coworkers who were really thrilled and just, they've all been just great additions to the team. So I'll be introducing Andres in just a moment. When we're done with his comments, we'll go over what we'll be doing this month and then some of the things that have happened since last month's call. So Andrés Jimenez works for an organization called Green2.0, which is committed to bringing a diversity of voices to environmental groups and environmental justice groups. This is not new for him, though. This isn't like he got this new job, so he's got this new commitment. This was so obvious for the 3 years that we had the privilege of working with him in our government affairs office. He's worked in offices on Capitol Hill. He's worked at the Ocean Conservancy. He's just one of the really great resources that we've ever run into in our life, and really thrilled that we could have him on and join us today. So Andres, welcome, and thank you for making this work today.
Mark, it's so awesome. I'm so privileged to be here today. It's so great to see you. It's so great to see so many familiar names. And let's get started. But before we do, I think that we need to say a big happy Mother's Day to everyone, to all the mothers out there. I know it's tomorrow, but I won't talk to you tomorrow. I'm talking to you today. So happy Mother's Day, and I hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend. And now we have lots to run through. So let's get started. Again, Mark, thank you for that introduction. Green 2.0. So excited to be here today. My name is Andrés Jimenez. I am the executive director of Green 2.0. For those of you who don't know me, I'm going to give you just a little bit of background and then we'll dive right into it. I was born in Bogota, Colombia. I grew up in a small town in West Virginia. I moved to Chicago and lived there for 10 years. I then came back, as Mark mentioned. I worked on the Hill. I worked for the city of New York. I worked for Ocean Conservancy, and then had the fortune to land at Citizens Climate Lobby, where I got to know so many wonderful people all across the country, not only working on carbon pricing, but really invested in their communities and the lives of those around us. One of the most amazing things about Citizens Climate Lobby is that, yes, you're an organization, but you treat it as a family. And you care for one another, staff cares for each other. All of the chapters not only work together, but are always very responsive and helpful when they need to come together. And that is something that throughout my career, I have never seen in any other organization quite like Citizens Climate Lobby. So kudos to your mission and your values and being able to keep that through your growth. I know one of the things when I was at Citizens Climate Lobby that we always thought about, and Mark really pushed us to, is yes, we're growing at a rapid rate, but we need to hold close that idea of family and values and mission, and we can never separate from that. And I've seen the way you've grown even in the last 10 months since I left, and you continue to just not only grow, but grow in the right ways, which means obviously always engaging in a respectful way. And that's something that I really applaud Mark and Madeline and the leadership at Citizens Climate Lobby for continuing to push even as you've grown. So for those of you who know me, I am one heck of a big Cubs fan. So many things change, but a lot of things stay the same. I threw up some pictures that really show how amazing the Cubs are, and always following that, and want to make sure that didn't escape this conversation. All right, now next, back home. I talked about this a little bit, but boy, it's so nice to be back home. You know, it's only been 10 months, but I miss all of the staff and the volunteers. We had such amazing, over the 3 years I was with you, experiences. I threw up some right there from the DC office and one of our annual meeting. Again, it's a family and it's very exciting. But let's get down to what Green 2.0 is doing, what our mission is, and what the future is looking like. and then obviously try to do some Q&A, because as I was telling Mark and Madeline earlier, some of the most important parts of giving talks is for both parties, it's giving some feedback, understanding, going through questions. I think it helps both sides. So Green 2.0. So it was launched in 2014 as a working group of thought leaders at the intersection of the environment and race. Green 2.0 commissioned the first report of its kind, the State of Diversity in Environmental Organizations, and followed up its groundbreaking research with additional initiatives, including tracking demographic data, reports on executive searches, organizational culture, and forums focused on helping NGOs implement better policies for readiness, recruitment, and retention. Just to take a step back, we are a 501c3 organization. We are a national organization. We're the only ones of its kind doing the kind of watchdog work that needs to be done. It is critical that we look at the environmental movement and that we say, we can be doing better if we are diverse. The more backgrounds, the more experiences, different experiences that we bring to the table will only make us stronger. And if we continue to have the same people at this table and not bringing in all this richness of experience and backgrounds, we're only causing pain to us. And I don't believe in change. I believe in accelerated change. We're already doing not enough. We should have been doing this yesterday. We should have been doing this from the get-go. But understanding that we weren't, we now need to move ahead in a much faster capacity. Our staff has grown at Green 2.0 over the last 10 months. I started as the first executive director, a full-time executive director, and I went to work in finding lots of amazing talent. We hired Adrian, who's our deputy director, handles our Hill and administration work. Shao, who's just an amazing graphic designer and handles our social media and website. And for those of you who've been around Citizens Climate Lobby for a while, you might recognize that that great guy over on the right. Andy joined our team about 9 months ago, and it's been amazing having him and being able to have the background and history with him and knowing how he understands the work around climate change and the importance, and also understands those values I talked about at the beginning with Citizens Climate Lobby, and incorporating that sense of this isn't just a workplace, but this is this is your work family. We're here for one another. We're not just here to do a 9 to 5. We are absolutely here to make sure that we are all healthy, that we are all safe, and that we're lifting each other up. And those values and a lot of that work really stems from the time that we had at Citizens Climate Lobby. So our board. So when I joined Green 2.0, it was clear to me that there were a lot of things that needed to change. One of them was our website, so we tore it down. Another was our logo, so we changed our logo right away. And our board needed to look and feel as it has a national level, that we brought in national voices to really speak about what we're doing and help amplify our mission. And so we brought on Neria Garcia Alicia. She is our Indigenous youth leader. So she's fantastic and really gives us that perspective. And we brought Philippe Cousteau, grandson of Jacques Cousteau, and he has been working on environmental issues all of his life. And so having his voice has just been really powerful. Reverend Yearwood, who's doing amazing work, both through his organization, the Hip Hop Caucus, and on podcast. I absolutely recommend you check it out if you haven't. Mark Magana, the head of Green Latinos, who I know a lot of Green Citizens Climate Lobby staff and volunteers have worked with. Jeff Orlowski, who made Chasing Coral and recently made that movie on Netflix, talking about what's going on with the internet and with Google, the social dilemma. So if you haven't caught that, boy, it's a real eye opener. And then Dana Johnson, who works at the We Act. It's a very important on the ground environmental justice organization and group, and the work that they do is absolutely fantastic. And I applaud her efforts and that group's efforts. So our mission, Green 2.0's mission, is to ensure that the environmental movement is committed to justice, equity, inclusion, and diversity, and recognizes the leadership of people of color at every level. We take this very seriously. We take this to every meeting. We think about our mission whenever we put out press releases, anything on social media, any meetings that we have. We are always thinking about, how does this impact our mission? How does this fold into what our grand vision is, and how will this help change us and other organizations, foundations, and the environmental movement for the better? We can't do this work alone, as you all very well know. And so how do we do this work? Well, one of the ways we do is we partner with foundations. When I first joined, we had some very healthy and strong partnerships with foundations, but it's been key to me that we need to expand that. And we're expanding that every month, every couple of months. We brought on Hewlett, we brought on Packard, Walton, Energy Foundation. Last week, we brought in the Moore Foundation. And so with this help of these foundations, we're able to not only get our message out, but we're able to have a little more push when it comes to reaching out to organizations and having them make sure that these organizations are taking diversity as a priority. Other ways is we partner with organizations just like Citizens Climate Lobby. So the environmental movement will only be successful if everyone and organizations unite together. This is key. Like I said a moment ago, we cannot do this work alone. And we also can't just do one thing. We need to be pushing every lever we can think of all at the same time. If we're only pushing one lever and it fails, we're left with our hands in the air. And so we must push these levers and say, we have to hit this problem from all different areas. So working with foundations, working with organizations, members of Congress, which I'll talk a little bit about, as well as the administration. And really, it's not just about working with those partners, but it's about growing those partners. And I know Citizens Climate Lobby works very hard in growing their partnerships and working with new sources that can help and amplify the mission. And we do the exact same at Green 2.0. And whenever we bring in a partner, it's very important for us to say, what are you doing internally? Like, yes, it's great that we have you as a partner, but what are you doing internally? Are you working toward the same mission? Are you taking diversity as a priority? Are you moving forward and trying? One of the things I've always said is nothing worse than to try and stumble is fine, but to not try at all is absolutely horrible. And so those are the kind of groups that we go after, the kind of groups that we're talking to foundations about, the kind of groups that we're talking to press about. It's those groups that just refuse to take diversity as a priority, that do not care and do not want to move and work with others. And so this is just a small list of our partners. And as I said, we continue to add new partners every day. And it's been great to see the support both from foundations and organizations, and the leaders of all of these foundations and organizations really making a strong stride in the right direction. So I talked a little bit about the administration and Congress. So at Green 2.0, we engage and we educate Congress and the administration using a multi-phased approach to pull levers to activate these key stakeholders into holding organizations accountable. We provide objective data so that the government officials can make informed decisions. Green 2.0, when I came in, was not Hill facing, nor was it administration facing, meaning we did not do work on the Hill and we didn't do work with the administration. I took a step back and I said, well, I've got 17 years of experience and I'm not gonna let this go to waste. So let's pull more levers. Let's engage with more stakeholders. Let's talk to members of Congress. Let's talk to the administration and let them know exactly what's happening in the environmental movement around diversity. And so we hit the ground running. And this year we are doing member meetings and staff meetings weekly. We do about 3 to 5 meetings with different offices a week. We are engaging with the administration. We have engaged with in the Interior Department, Transportation, you name it, EPA, CEQ. We've had the pleasure and an opportunity to talk with Gina McCarthy. We spoke with Cecilia Martinez from CEQ on Earth Day. And what we're finding is that whether it's members of Congress or administration staff and officials and leaders, everyone wants to know, how can we help? What can we do? There hasn't been a door that's closed. There hasn't been a phone that hasn't been picked up or an email that's read and not replied to. And I find this to be extremely encouraging. So members of Congress are saying, how can we help? We're here, we're ready. And the same with the administration. So that's great. We will continue to do this work moving forward. I hope I have a better picture than the one that's here when I was talking to Gina McCarthy, because boy, I don't look too excited, but I was excited. And it's great to really let the administration know we're here, this is what we're doing. But we also talk about, because these leaders ask, which organizations are not taking this as a priority? So one of the questions they always ask is, of course, who are your partners and how's that going? Which is fine. And that's great. But what they really want to know is, who is not your partner? Who is not picking up the phone? Which organizations are not taking this as a priority, taking it seriously, putting it into strategic missions, putting it into a place where leadership and all levels are able to not only talk about these issues, but are able to act and make a difference within their organizations. Events are huge to Green 2.0. Unfortunately, we currently live in the time of COVID for many different reasons, but we have all become all Zoom warriors. We are all getting Zoom fatigued, and we're all doing meeting after meeting in Zoom, making it extremely hard to really make that personal connection. But we've forged ahead, and one of those ways is by appearing and talking and speaking at different events that organizations hold. Power Shift was one of them. We put together the first 100 days, the People's Town Hall, in which we invited the administration and environmental justice leaders from all around the country to really dive into what had happened in the Biden administration in the first 100 days. And it was the good, the bad, and the ugly when it came to, yes, they're doing a great job on certain things, but there's always parts of the country where they're not seeing the help and support they need. And so it was a great way to talk with the administration and say, this is going great, but here's some things you should be looking at, or don't forget these communities in these different parts of the country. And so it was a great event. Citizens Climate Lobby staff attended. It was great to see them be there to support us, and we will continue to do events. We have plenty of briefings off and on the Hill coming up. We have events with the administration coming up, with foundations and another organization. So we're going to keep pushing not only our engagement with the Hill and the administration, but we're going to keep pushing these events as well. One of the levers, as I talked about earlier, that we use to push our messaging is reports. And so Green 2.0 has put out their Beyond Diversity report. That report, as well as Leaking Talent, came out a few years ago. And these reports, including our report card, which I'll talk about in a moment, really help give tools to organizations. It gives tools to Congress. It gives tools to incoming staff as well as current staff. One of the most interesting things that I heard twice last week is from different staffers who said, I didn't have an environmental background before I joined whatever organization they joined. They said, the first thing I actually did was I read your reports before I came into the environmental movement, because I wanted to know what I was getting into. And so that's exactly what we want. We want these to be out there. We want them to be free. We want them to be used by organizations. And in many cases, like the report card, we want organizations to actually participate. And so we will talk about the transparency report card. So Green 2.0's transparency report card reflects data collected from 80 organizations, the number of people of color on their full-time staffs, senior staffs, and boards. The report also collects information on how foundations are allocating their funds and if they are grant making to communities of color and organizations led by people of color. This is a bit of a shift from last year's report card as well as any other year. In the past, we have looked at the top 40 environmental organizations as well as the top 40 foundations when it comes to transparency. And so the new 2021 report card is going a little bit in a different way. First off, I don't believe in the top 40 idea. So we're just opening it up to 80 environmental organizations. We're saying we want small, medium, and large organizations to come in and be transparent and give their data. And the reason behind this is there isn't any incentive for any organization who's not part of that top 40 to participate or to make diversity a priority. If we open it up to all sorts of different size groups, they are left with no excuses. No one can come back and say, we're too small to work on this, Andres. Andres, we're too big of an organization. We don't know where to get started. And so by opening it up, we really are saying there are no excuses. There are organizations of all different sizes doing this work around diversity and being transparent. You should too. And the second part is for the foundations. I looked back at the report cards from years of data, and I noticed something. Foundations aren't transparent. In last year's transparency report card, there were 11 out of 40 were transparent. That's not success to me. So instead of doing the same thing over and over for the sake of doing it over and over again, I said, let's stop. If they don't want to be transparent, then that's fine. But what we're going to do, and this goes back to this idea of accelerating change, is we're going to go after the money. Are foundations giving equally to organizations that are run by, led by, for people of color and working on the ground for communities of color? I think I have an idea of what that answer is, but the idea is to give small and medium organizations who are not getting the funding or not getting equal funding as some of the bigger ones get. It gives them a tool to go to these foundations and say, that's fine that you're funding these big green groups. That's totally fine. And we don't have a problem with that. Some of our best partners are some of these big green groups. What I'm saying is these foundations have the power and the money to give equally to these organizations that right now really need it. So our report card, which I hope you go to diversegreen.org and take a look, examined the change number of full-time staff, as I mentioned, and here's a quick chart. More charts are on the website. And the last piece is social media. Social media has been a big part of who we are and how we've grown. Before our relaunch early in the year, our numbers for social media were not very high. We didn't have a LinkedIn account. Our Facebook and Twitter kind of stalled. We've put in a lot and dedicated a lot with Xiao, who runs our social media, into growing our Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, because that is one of the best ways organizations like like Citizens Climate Lobby can help us. It's by following what we're doing. It's by retweeting our reports. It's by sharing the material that we're putting out there. And so that's one of the best things that we ask organizations to do. It's help us by looking through that. We also do a guest blog series. For last Earth Day, we had Ramon Cruz come in. He's the president of Sierra Club, come in and write about diversity. We've had our most recent one was with the NYU Law, and we've had tons of different guests. And at some point soon, we hope to have someone from Citizens Climate Lobby do a guest blog. That would be fantastic. And we also do partner spotlights. We take an organization and we ask them to do a 2 to 3 minute video in which they talk about what they're doing around diversity, why it's important internally to them, and how other folks can learn more. And so that's been a great tool, because what we do is we get organizations to retweet or push this out for us. And so other folks can come to our page and learn more about the work that Green 2.0 is doing. So what can you do? I just mentioned what you can do. What you can do is you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook or LinkedIn. You can learn more about us. Sign up to our newsletter, which is the best way to learn more about the events we're doing and events where you can either participate or come join, because we'd love to see you. And that is it. This has been, again, fantastic. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to see so many friendly faces and so many friends. And I'm excited about the questions that hopefully will be coming up.
Cool. Flannery, I'm going to have to put a little pressure on you because I think you're going to have to distill it down to the most predominant question. So that was a fantastic presentation, Andres, and I think everybody loved it. And I hope you could see in the chat how many of your former colleagues were so excited to see you. So Flannery, what's the single most asked thing there?
Okay, I'm going to cheat a little bit and I'll make it a twofer. People are wondering, what policy efforts Green 2.0 supports now? Like when you're doing things on the Hill, what are you talking to legislators about? And then just generally, if you could tack on, what could CCLers do to best support your work?
Yeah, it's a great question, Flannery, and as always, nice to see you. So because we're a 501c3, we don't actually back any specific bills. What we do is that we go to Congress and we talk with members of Congress and say, here is a list of organizations that have been transparent, that are open, that are taking this as a priority. Here's a list of organizations that actually do not care about these issues and are not trying to improve internally or even work with others. And so when we go to Congress, we're meeting with committees quite a lot, and committees are asking, which organization should we bring into hearings? Which organizations are not working on this? Because whether it's any kind of issue around climate change, they don't want to work with organizations that don't care about diversity. And so that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to filter and we're trying to put a spotlight on organizations that care about these important issues, but also let the administration and Congress know which ones aren't. And what they're saying is, thank you for letting us know, because now that we know, it's going to be even harder for them to have a platform here, whether it comes to briefings, whether it comes to testifying. And so we're trying to make sure and make a big push to say, give those who are willing to work on this and take it a priority, give them that space to have a voice. But if you're not, make sure that they know that that's not the right thing, and do that by not inviting them to participate.
Wow. Fantastic, Andres. I thought people would be super enthusiastic about this. We can see that they are. It's great work you're doing. So glad that you could make yourself available on a Saturday when you've got those two beautiful young girls that you could be doing stuff with. So thank you for making time for us, Andres. Great to see you.
Anytime, thank you.
Yeah, great. Next up is Ricky Bradley. Ricky Bradley is the Director of IT, Information Technology and Citizens Climate Lobby, and he's going to be talking about a new platform we have. So when we do the June conference this year, we've found a new platform that's designed to make the June conference more like a conference, more like it's just being at the Omni. And let me just say a couple things about Ricky real quickly. When Ricky was a volunteer, he actually built CCL University and Community. So if you ever wonder, where did they come from? There was a volunteer named Ricky Bradley who said, you know what, this organization could use these two pieces, and he built them. Absolutely one of the most extraordinary things that's ever happened in the organization. So Ricky, tell us about what we're going to be working on in June.
All right, thank you, Mark. So today I am super excited to tell you about AirMeet, which is a new online conferencing platform that we're going to use in place of Zoom for CCL's June conference. And so the goal today here is just to inform you and to do a very short demo. This is not an in-depth training, so just relax. There's plenty more to come. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this though today, is that for the June conference, Zoom no, AirMeet yes. So just remember that, okay? So why AirMeet? Why are we changing away from Zoom? Well, Zoom, as you know, is great for meetings and webinars, and we're going to continue to use that for all of our meetings and our webinars, just like today. But from your feedback, we've heard that there are really two major shortcomings with Zoom and conferencing via Zoom, and that is little interaction. So AirMeet really takes care of that. It allows attendees to interact in a virtual setting, as Mark said, that really mimics an in-person event. And also that Zoom is difficult to navigate. When you want to leave one session and go to another session, you have to know the ID and logging in and logging out and all those different types of things. Within the AirMeet platform, you'll be able to 2 clicks join different sessions and move around. So what's important to know for supporters, before I give you just 1 minute demo, is that for now, registration is the same. You continue to register via Eventbrite, and someone will put the link in the chat right now to register for the June conference. And we'll have much more information for you as we get closer to the registrants and stuff. We just hope this is something that gets you excited. And if you're sitting on the fence and thinking about going or not, that this will push you over the edge. All right, so let's just do a quick demo real quick. So this is what happens when you log in to AirMeet. And it is a dark mode or dark platform. They are working on a lighter version, which we've already asked them for. But so when you land in it, you're going to notice that you have navigation options at the top. There's a reception area, sessions, lounge, and booths, right? And it's located at the top center of every page within AirMeet. Now, for example, now what you can see is the reception area. And here's like the welcome area of AirMeet, where you can see what's live at that moment and find a helpful 2-minute video that's in the lower right that will help orient you to the platform. You click on sessions, and this is just what it sounds like, right? You'll be able to see all the live and upcoming sessions. You'll be able to join a session from here. You'll be able to bookmark sessions too to create your own conference adventure. And then there's a lounge area. The lounge area is where you can go before and between the conference sessions to meet and interact with other participants. So that's the thing that's really missing, right, from Zoom. So we plan on opening the lounge early for networking. And the lounge consists of these little virtual tables. You can see I just set up a couple of them, for example, like a help table, Floridians, a college meetup, and you just click on an empty chair and boom, you're into the session. So, or to the table. So that's pretty cool. And that's really great for networking. And then last but not least will be our booth section. And this is really where our action teams are going to set up. So before and after the conference, and even I think there's a part of the program that is dedicated to action teams. You can go here to learn more. I just got one example in here right now, the Catholic Action Team, but that, you know, the rest of them will be in here once we get going. So that's it for today. Again, we are in a learning and discovery phase ourselves, just to understand like what this platform can offer and what the attendee experience will be. And stay tuned because lots more information is coming. And if you haven't yet, register for the June conference today. Thank you, Mark.
Wow, Ricky, thank you so much. We're so excited about having the conference in that platform and format next month, June 12th and 13th. So what are we inviting you to do this month? First of all, I'm really excited that the first action is we're asking you to practice the talking points. Our marketing team did a lot of research to find out what actually reaches people. And, you know, if you talk to anybody who has background in sales or marketing, they sell benefits, not features. So it's important for us to understand the features, but it's also important that we have the key benefits at the tip of our tongue, that this is the best tool to get us to net zero by 2050, that this will make clean energy affordable, that it will put money in your pocket with no restrictions tested really, really well, and then it'll save lives. This is really good for people's health. So I think sometimes people think of the communications exercise as an add-on. It's not. Please make sure we're doing this and we're reinforcing a message that we want to get out there. The second action is about the June conference. And as Ricky said, if you haven't registered, you can. But also, please start meeting with your chapter to talk about your plan for your meetings with your members of the House and Senate. That's important also. You know, we want you to, the third action is to take some time and make sure you're nurturing the people in the chapters. Make sure that they have something to do that fits with the size of the commitment they have, that you're looking out for your people. I know we've been stuck in Zoom and it's easy to say, well, you know, it's so much harder over there. Well, it doesn't seem like with you. It seems like you're making a lot of things happen and you're figuring out how to adapt. So one of those things we'd like you to do is look to see what you can do to nurture your people. The fourth action, is one of my favorite actions I've ever seen come across the action sheet. It's reach out to mayors. Mayors by their job have to be bipartisan. Not all of them do their job in a bipartisan way, but they fit our niche. So please reach out to your mayors, see if we can get endorsements from your mayors. And then the last thing is there is a new video we have talking about the relaunch of the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act. And we want you to share and like that. So I'm extra excited about the actions this month. Okay, what about since last month's call? Well, yesterday, the Market Choice Act was reintroduced by Republican Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania and Democrat Carbajal of California. Nice to see a bipartisan carbon pricing bill in the House. That follows up also the growing climate solutions bipartisan bill in the Senate. So we're getting more bills that we like out there. We're excited about that. Okay, in a typical month, we get about 3,000 letters to members of Congress. Last month, you submitted 9,748 letters. So usual month is about 3,000, last month, 9,748. Between March and June, we're now up to 437 meetings with members of Congress. So the push that you're making to make sure that a price is part of the package, all the key things are happening. It's not a slam dunk, but we're doing all the things we should be doing. 304 letters to the editor published last month. It's almost impossible, given the market is so much smaller for letters to the editor than it used to be. That is a remarkable month, and thank you all of you who submitted letters to the editor to get that many published, and 123 op-eds. More than 3 out of 4 of the op-eds that we submitted were actually published by the newspaper. So it's obviously you're developing relationships with the newspapers where you're a trusted source for them. When you send them something, they are way more likely to publish it than not. Made 175 presentations. So as I was saying, obviously you're figuring out how to be successful and work in this environment. And we're now up to 49 co-sponsors for the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, including our first one from Texas. So thank you all for being part of that. So huge amount of activity this month, still a huge push, way to go. In June, there's not a monthly call because the date of the meeting would be the date of our actually national conference. So we'll see you all at the conference next month. Thank you for being here. And again, thank you, Andrés Jimenez, for the amazing work you're doing and for doing a great presentation. All right, thank you, everybody. Bye.
We need a robust plan to cut carbon emissions if we want to have any chance of really saving the planet. Our plan returns 100% of the net revenue back to the American people as a monthly dividend payment.
Since this bill's original introduction, Citizens Climate Lobby volunteers have been spreading the word about it. They've generated endorsements from 1,003 local businesses, 140 faith groups, 135 local governments, and 743 prominent individuals in their communities.
This is just the start of what is a really important and exciting conversation about a serious step that we can take to reduce carbon emissions.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Citizens Climate Lobby's training program. You can tune into more episodes anywhere podcasts are available. Inspired by what you heard today? Join Citizens Climate Lobby to advocate for bipartisan climate solutions. Go to community.citizensclimate.org to find more trainings, resources, your local chapter, national action teams, discussion forums, and more. Be sure to like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and Instagram @CitizensClimate. We also invite all of our listeners to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiration. And together, we are creating the political will for a livable world.